All right. Hello and welcome to the Spirituality and Business Interview Series. This week we are fortunate enough to have Sue Kreitz, who is a energy healer and a Qigong instructor. Sue helps people who are living with stress, anxiety, and pain, and helps them to experience greater peace, harmony, and well-being through the ancient art of Qigong. It is so fantastic to have you here with us today. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Thank you so much. That's awesome. It's really fun to be here. So I teach Qigong online, basically, and I live in Alberta, Canada, outside a very small town in the country, and I just really like connecting with people, and I don't want to have to travel to large cities or centers, so I sort of got creative and found a way to teach Qigong online. So that's sort of what I do most of the time.
All right, fantastic. Thank you so much for being here with us and for sharing that with us. So could you tell us a little bit about your spiritual path? Do you identify any specific ways? What's your spiritual path?
That's a really interesting question. My spiritual path, I would say it's really been diverse and varied to get me to where I am today. And it's always continually evolving, and it will always be, a path that sometimes might be a bit circuitous. But I really found a spiritual connection originally many years ago through yoga, and just in the Shavasana, I started to really enjoy that quiet time. And of course, I fell asleep the first 100 times that I was in Shavasana. But after a period of time, I didn't fall asleep, and I've kind of found myself going to this place. And it was this place of peace. And at that time, I had 2 young kids. So this place of peace was, a really lovely space to be in. And so I started doing some of that just sort of on my own. And I've always sort of studied alternative modalities of health and healing. I've been on a huge path of holistic nutrition and homeopathy and all these various things. But some physical pain actually led me to Qigong, and I understood that Qigong can help with physical pain as well as, giving you the benefits of meditation. So Qigong is really, it means to move energy. It's a slow moving meditation technique that's from ancient China.
Wow.
And I just started trying this Qigong practice. I got on YouTube and found a couple of videos and wanted to see if it would help me with my physical hip pain. I had some bursitis in my hip. And the more I practiced, the more I just felt I was sort of getting to know myself a bit better. And I felt like I was sort of peeling off some layers to identifying what actually makes me happy and what I like to do. I think before that I was kind of drifting, like a boat on the water without any real direction. And so the more I practiced this technique, it felt like my physical body was healing and clearing, as well as my mind and my emotions and my spiritual connection. So I just started to study this ancient art more and more because of the results that I was getting. And that soon became my path. And I then went and studied this form that I teach, which is Spring Forest Qigong. There's many different forms of Qigong. So this one is probably the simplest form. And I started taking some certification in that. I took level 1, and then a year later I took a level 2, and then I went and sort of studied under my Qigong master, who's in Minneapolis, Master Chen Yilin, and just kept evolving that practice. I took 5 levels, and then I became a certified instructor, and I really feel it's helped me in so many ways clear a lot of my old stories and really get clear on what my purpose is. And I mean, again, it's always a work in progress, and I'm always learning. There's so much to learn, but I'm really enjoying the path that I have chosen for myself.
Yeah, thank you so much for sharing that. That's so beautiful to hear. And it's also great to learn a little bit more about what Qigong, because I know not everyone is familiar with it. So thank you for telling us a little bit more about that as well. Um,
Hmm.
yeah, so I know one of the things you want to talk about today is what spiritual technique has been the most powerful in your business. Would you say that's Qigong?
Yeah, I would. And there's so many reasons for that. But just back to sort of the Qigong thing, so many people think that, meditation is sitting on a pillow and like oming or lighting
Yeah.
incense and dimming all the lights. And with Qigong, it's so lovely because your body gets to move while you're doing it. But also it sort of becomes a practice you can embody. So, there's a lot of the foundation of the teaching is based on the 5 element theory of Chinese medicine,
Oh,
which
right.
has to do with the seasons. And, there's 5 elements which correspond to seasons. And there's this ancient wisdom within each one of the elements and each season that we can use to guide us every day.
Oh, wow.
So for my business, this has been really beneficial because so right now in the Northern Hemisphere, we're in the element of metal in the season of
Oh,
fall.
right.
So we can understand so much about our bodies. The lungs, the large intestine, the skin are sort of on duty right now. So most people get sinus infections and
Mhm.
chest infections in the fall. Asthma acts up in the
Oh,
fall.
wow.
But most of this is related to emotions. So the emotion of the fall that a lot of us struggle with that relates to the metal element are depression, sadness, and
Mhm.
grief. But there's an emotion that can help us combat that, and that's contentment and
Oh,
inspiration.
wow.
So fall is a really great time for clearing away clutter, getting rid of what's not serving you in your life, and getting sort of a little bit more clarity on your goals, finding inspiration, and also being content. So finding the things that make you feel most content. So when you do that, it actually helps to heal any blockages in the lungs, the large intestine, the skin, the breathing system, but also it gives you more clarity, for yourself and for your life and what you want to do. So by finding, that contentment piece in this season, it kind of can amp us up to get us more in flow with what's going on with nature, which is really also what's going on in our bodies. We're going down into the root, preparing for winter. So that's sort of how it's really helped me guide my life, but also how I direct my business. So of course I really focus now on this metal element, and I use
Yeah.
that to sort of guide what I'm going to teach, how I'm going to approach it, to share with others.
Amazing. All right. So thank you so much for sharing all of that with us. I really enjoyed listening to you. I just wanted to let you know that your screen has been freezing up a bit, but the sound
Mm.
is still coming through perfectly clear. And honestly, part of me, like, I appreciate just like, I just see your smiling face and hear your voice. And I'm thinking it's fine, but I just wanted to let you know.
Sure, thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah, internet problems here for
I
sure.
know. Yeah, I completely understand that. I'm in a relatively small town in Ireland, and internet problems are a daily experience.
Yeah, you just roll with it.
Yep, we do. All right. The important thing is we can hear your beautiful voice and the words you're saying. Like, that's
Oh,
really, really
yes, thank you.
yeah. So it's really fascinating to hear about how the Qigong does, how you're able to implement that in your business, and how the seasons rather, and the elements come into play and influence that. Have you been using that from the start, or when did you start deciding to implement that in your business?
I didn't from the start, no. And it took me a long time to kind of get to this place of embodying the practice, so to speak. But
Mhm.
I think, just relating to that spirituality and business, the topic that we're
Yeah.
discussing, I think for us to be spiritual, I really feel that's a mental health journey. A lot
Mm.
of it is really about mental health, and
Yeah.
and so for us to run a business that's sort of from a soul level,
Yeah.
if we're spiritual people, we have to walk the walk, we have to do the work, we have to heal from, you know, our stories
Yeah.
and our wounds. And I think that just brings about an ability to speak from a more authentic place,
Yeah.
and also to be human. And
Mm.
part of it is sharing the struggles. Like, I don't have the answers. I still have all kinds of issues in my life on a day-to-day basis, but I feel I have something to turn to that can help me. And that is, you know, really, I think the mental health piece is the big
Mm.
one. So for me, it took me a number of years before I really understood a little bit how the energy flows and how I can use the elements to support me. But I've had to practice, and that, you know, means doing Qigong every day, and studying and reading and learning, and then feeling this passion for sharing this super simple practice that can really help balance the physical body as well as the, you know, the mind, and develop a spiritual connection. So it's a journey, I think. And but I love to bring it forward through business, because what a beautiful way to live your passion.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for sharing all of that. I don't think I've really heard people talk about spirituality tied in, like, as being a mental health journey, but I completely agree with you. That's been my experience as well, and that's such a beautiful, concise way of putting it. Um,
Hmm.
yeah. So as someone who uses spirituality so heavily in your business, what have been like some of your two biggest challenges related to that?
Yeah. Okay. So that's a really good question too. And, you know, we all have challenges, and sort of being a spiritual person, which so many of us are. I mean, I don't really like that, the saying I'm spiritual and someone else isn't. We're all spiritual
Yeah.
beings, and we're all just on this path. But um, what I found is I've created a online community. It's like a
Oh,
membership
wow.
community, and
Beautiful.
we practice Qigong together every week live. Like today, actually, we're practicing at noon. We practice live, people from all over the world.
Wow.
So having this community is so lovely. I love it. It's just feeds me on all levels, and people are loving it too. But you know, so I just want to play in that community, but I have to learn how to bring people into the community.
Mhm.
I have to learn marketing. I have to learn, you know, all this other piece that isn't really what I signed up for, you know,
Mm.
when I wanted to teach my passion and share my gifts and help other people feel good. So I find the marketing piece for me is a real struggle. And
Mhm.
being on social media, I mean, some of it's fun, and there's some days where I don't want to be on social media.
Yeah.
I don't. But how do I bring people to my business? How do I let people know about what I do? So
Yeah.
I find that has been a struggle for me, is
Yeah.
how do I, you know, market
Mm.
this sort of this spiritual practice. You know, how do you market that? Because it's, you know, you don't really want to be salesy, you want to be authentic. So
Mhm.
so that's been for sure a challenge
Yeah.
for me. And the other piece, which I feel I've overcome, but in the beginning when I first started leading practice groups and
Mhm.
teaching, was the money piece. You know,
Mm.
charging people to come to a practice group where you're just healing and
Yeah.
sharing this together. There was a little bit of a stigma in my community around actually charging a fee for some of this work.
Yeah.
But I'd have to say that sort of cleared away, you know, evolutionarily, and within my sort of spiritual journey. I
Mhm.
feel okay about wanting to make this a business for myself, because I've spent, you know, so much time and energy on training and being
Yeah.
professional, and learning how to teach this so that people can get the best
Yeah.
experience for themselves out of it. So I think the charging piece has now become you know, accepted
Yeah.
in even in
Good.
the spiritual art. So yeah,
That's
so
brilliant.
those were sort of my two biggest challenges, I would say.
All right. Thank you so much for sharing that with us and for being so open about those struggles. I know that those are both pieces that so many entrepreneurs, and especially those who are very in touch with their spirituality, struggle with. So with the marketing, like, how have you been able to kind of make that work for you so that you are able to do it in a way that's authentic and not salesy, and that it fits into what you want to be doing?
Yeah, good question. What I found works for me, and I don't know, it's not for everybody, but what I find works for me is really just sort of trying to just sort of tune into what's going on with me.
Mm-hmm.
And then I will share a bit about that with maybe some solutions that would help me. So it's giving a lot of value, and because that's really what I want, is just to help people feel better and to show them that you don't need to pay a lot of money, even just breathing, taking time to breathe each day can really help you feel better. So I found just really finding little authentic gems that, of course, relate to the season. So the season really helps me because there's so much I can, share about, say, the element of metal. So that, and then I haven't really gone to the place of pre-scheduling posts. I haven't found that in myself to be able to do that. So I just am really gentle with myself, and if there's days I want to post a really a great wisdom nugget that I have learned about, I'll post it. And then there's days where you don't hear from me, and that's sort of okay. I feel okay. I have to be okay with that.
Yeah, and being gentle with yourself on this journey is so, so important. And it's like, especially with more spiritually focused businesses, doing what feels good to you versus what, the mainstream gurus tell you to do, that it tends to work much better. So thank you so much.
It really does. It really does. And the other piece I found too for me is I really like to write. So if I've learned, and I had someone sort of help me with this, but if I carve out time to write, and then share the writing, as a blog or publish it somewhere, that's a really great way to have this sort of authentic voice come through without being salesy. Because it's just, when I write, I'm just sharing some of my experiences and hoping it'll help other people. So I find for me the writing is kind of a really good way for the social piece to get out there.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's a really powerful way of connecting your own strengths and creating a plan for your business that plays off your strengths. So that's really fantastic. Thank you so much for sharing it with us. And you also mentioned like the money piece, which I would really like to talk about today, because I know that that's a really big sticking point for so many people. That question of like, how can I charge money for these gifts,
Yeah, one thing that I found is, what really helps people is for you to be living sort of in your passion, living in your joy, living in your purpose, and sharing from that place of passion. And when other people see that in you, it doesn't mean that that's their thing that they have to do, but it inspires them to find, their passion, their joy, and so when you're sharing with that much enthusiasm and passion, why wouldn't you make a living at this? Like, that's really what I feel is I am making a living at this because I love it. I love helping people, and I'm living in my passion. So it's really kind of coming from that place of knowing you're vibing high when you're doing this, and this is what you're meant to do. So of course you also need to support your family and live your life to the best of your ability so that you can share these gifts. So that money piece just has to be part of it. I mean, we have to ask for that. We have to be have integrity around that and around all the teachings and wisdom that we're learning and bringing forward with us to the world. So I think that piece can be challenging, but when you find that joy, that love, that passion, it's just going to float your boat in the direction that you need to go. So you need to earn money so that you can share it even more.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you. That's such a beautiful and powerful way of putting it. So thank you so much for sharing that with us. When you were in the beginning and like kind of struggling with the money piece, was that the realization that really helped you push past the hesitation?
No, I think that for me, it was really limiting beliefs on, what I was capable of or what I was worthy of. I think that I kind of came from a on a DNA level of lack, and that lack is sort of how we are, and this is what we do, and we're always sort of in this lack.
Yeah.
And I think it was really like the Qigong, just working on my, clearing away those layers of limiting beliefs, actually getting down to the DNA level, the ancestral level, and clearing out that belief. So what I feel I'm doing, I haven't done it, but I'm working on it, but I feel I've cleared it out for the generations before me and the generations to come. Beautiful. So that means that we don't need to be in lack. And that is not, I'm not deserving of that at all. Nobody is. So to clear that out so that, my children and their children don't have that, and also to help, my ancestors also clear that wherever they may be. I think that's part of my role, and my opportunity here is to clear that story out.
Yeah. Absolutely. So thank you again so much for sharing that. That was so powerful, and I love that it ties back to Qigong, like keeps coming back to that really amazing practice for you. Like it's really beautiful to see all the different ways that this practice has helped you improve your life.
Thank you.
Absolutely. So is there any other advice that you really would like to give to people about business and spirituality?
I think that it just really comes down to, and I'm not an expert. I had an in-person practice, and I moved my business online probably 2 years ago, and took sort of a big leap in faith that my clients would be happy to see me over distance and not, in a physical space. And so I'm learning so much about this, and how to, like, as I said, how to market it. But I think we really need to take care of ourselves. And that is, every day we need to figure out what the self-care piece is. And there's going to be more than one piece, because it has to do with the body, mind, and spirit. But our bodies need movement, our bodies need breath, our bodies need good food, and our soul needs nourishing. So whatever that is for you, you have to do it. And I think when you do it, it's going to help you on so many levels. And that's just going to make your intuition louder and easier to listen to. And that's really where the answers are, right? We have all the answers inside us. But if you can hear your intuition more clearly, it's going to guide you so much better. And to hear your intuition, you need to get quiet with yourself. And that, whatever that is for you, everyone's got a different path. For me, it's Qigong, but for other people, it could be something completely different. But that, I think, is how you can sort of walk this path and be authentic and really share your gifts. And whether it's, whether you're sharing a spiritual business or not, it's still you. You are, really your business, and it's people relate to that energy coming through, and every word you say, every logo you have up there, whatever it is, it's reaching right down into the depths of you. So I think the more authentic you can be, the more guided you are, the better you're going to have success. And that really also includes having happiness and joy every day in your life. Yeah. So that wasn't really a nutshell, but that's what I was getting at.
Okay, it doesn't have to be a nutshell. Not everything fits in a nutshell.
It's more like a pumpkin.
Well, it's the perfect time of year for pumpkins.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Yeah, thank you so much for sharing all that with us. We've covered so much today. Thank you so much for being so open with us. It's so powerful, and I know it's really valuable for people to be able to hear about all of this. So seriously, thank you for it. And I know that you wanted to share with us a little bit about what you offer with Qigong from home.
Yeah, sure. Thank you for that. Thank you for the lovely interview and your lovely disposition. And yes, for this opportunity to share. This is, part of it. But I appreciate it so much. So I have this Qigong from home program, and it's a community, and we meet every week, and I teach live a practice. And then there's a members area where people can talk to each other. And then I'm trying to develop this community, which is forming lovely, beautifully. But there's handouts in the members area, there's training, there's teaching videos, there's so much wealth of richness of information. There's guided meditations, there's all kinds of things. So that's what I'm working on now. It's qigongfromhome.com is the website, and it's a lovely community that's forming. So if people want to check it out, they can. I also have lots of free videos on YouTube. You can just go on YouTube and search Sue Kreitz, and you'll find some Qigong movements. You'll find me talking about Qigong a bit. There's so much there. And my website, suekreitz.ca, has what's coming up for my events. I have a couple of online, like I have a masterclass coming up on the elements. So there's lots out there, but again, just dabble in it. And if you don't know Qigong, just, watch a couple of videos on YouTube and you can try it and see how it feels. But, just 5 or 10 minutes a day can make a really huge difference to your physical, mental, and spiritual health.
Great. Thank you so much for sharing all of that with us. The links are going to be below this video, so you'll be able to check them out. And thank you again, Sue, so much for taking this time out to be here with us and for everything that you've shared. Before we go, is there anything else that you'd like to share with us?
No, I just really want to thank you for having this beautiful sort of space to share spirituality and business, because it's really lovely and it's unique. And I think it's something that a lot of us are struggling with, but also a lot of us are really enjoying also. So it's really great to be able to share it, with like minds and hopefully offer some inspiration and ideas for others. So thank you so much for this opportunity and your lovely questions and your ability to hold space is very lovely.
Thank you. And seriously, thank you so much for being here today and sharing everything, especially like opening up about the marketing and the money piece. I know that those are huge things that a lot of spiritual entrepreneurs can get tripped up on. So it's so important to be able to be talking about this. So thank you so much.
You're welcome. And thank you also. Have a wonderful day.
You too.